All right. So today marks the first day, well, second, I guess. I did it for Inigo last week, I think, or maybe 2 weeks ago. I don't remember what. I think it was last Saturday where I reviewed Inigo, aka Runcor, a good friend of mine. A few matches from his Legacy Challenge. Here I'm gonna do it as well for the first time officially with one of my patrons. So this is a second tier Bayou Patreon subscriber, and what I will do at least once or twice a month is select somebody at that tier, and it will trickle down to anybody in the basic forest tier, where I will review their league or subset of 5 matches if they want. Ideally a league because it's more flows better, and just like give critical remarks about what mistakes are made and or what I would do differently per se. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and start. So there are 5 different matches here. I have not looked at this video ahead of time, so I will be watching it real time just like everybody else. So one second, we're gonna about start soon. Uh, Oops, it's going too fast. I will need to make this bigger. All right, we'll start now, I guess. This is First League. This is one of my Patreon subscribers, and we're gonna do a league review. Hey, how's it going, Vocal Tech and Runcor? So obvious mole there, obvious mole here again. So not off to a great start, unfortunately. I think you keep it here at 5. Here, yeah, just put that in the. Ooh, wait. I would put the arbor and the hoof back, so that's fine. I think it's already. Let me see. Maybe I'll slow it down a little bit. I'm already on normal, but yeah, no problem. Yeah, we'll watch it. I think because then this is a little bit faster than normal, so because it's a review from straight from Moto itself, so I think that's fine. Green Sun for 0. That's so far exactly how I would have done it. We don't know what our opponent is on, so we'll see. Okay, looks like Dredge. Yep. Okay, so that's the first thing I would do differently. Uh, Under normal circumstances, I'd probably Green Sun for 2 Visionary there, but given that we know our opponent is on Dredge, I would definitely just play out the land and then Green Sun for Reclaimer. So that is the first thing I would do differently. Right? Because, I mean, we have our Silver Bullet. I think on this board state, the Narcomoeba is coming back. That's probably fine. They want to therapy us. They can't. This is kind of bad now because they take our Green Sun. But I think we probably lost the game there based on. Thank you for the subscription, Chris. I appreciate that. I'll make you a mod. Ming Empire. There you go. Thank you for the follow, Crepe Stapler. So again here, like, I think we probably lost the game on the not Green Sun for Reclaimer. As a general rule of thumb, too, against these graveyard decks, you don't. One thing I see people do is they panic and they will bog immediately when you don't need to. Essentially, you don't care about their dredging. You only care about the creatures coming back and the bridge from belows. But yeah, here I think we probably stabilize with the reclaimer. Unfortunately, I don't know. It depends what Chris is playing. Gandalf13 here, but I think I think the punt was on turn two here. And also at some point, hopefully we'll have Inigo on going over his DNT matchup too, because I noticed he's been struggling with the DNT matchup lately, and I feel like there's probably something uh, that he's maybe not doing correctly there. So something to keep in mind. But yeah, I think this game was definitely lost by not getting Reclaimer. I don't think the rest of this match really matters because they already have the Hogak out. So that's pretty straightforward, I think. But I think the major misplay was really on turn two. Also, I would even in a fair matchup, I don't fire the glimpse off there. I would probably just green sun for two, getting the visionary because you want to set up a glimpse the following turn. But I think there's nothing really left with this game. I'm gonna keep going. All right. Here, as great as this hand is, it's like, hold on, I'm gonna pause for a second. This is like the kind of hand that I'm like a little bit afraid to keep because you can't play Magic for a while, right? Unless you're top decking on land. I think given that we have two pieces of disruption, it's like close. And I don't know how many leylands we have on the sideboard, but I think given two pieces of disruption, probably okay, I think. Yeah, I don't think they're not. Dredge is one of the few decks that cannot really beat Leyline. So unbelievable top deck. So we have the Reclaimer up now. I think it's very hard to lose this game, in my opinion. It's got to be Force of Vigor or bust here, right? So good luck to you, Chris, in the SCG con. Hopefully it goes well. I hope. No worries. I mean, it's not really a big deal. I think here we just vomit our hand, right? Looks like that's what you're doing. Uh, I would have played that a little bit differently. I'm gonna pause for a second. I probably would have played the Reclaimer because that means if we don't draw a land here, we can still activate Reclaimer next turn. Like you doing it this way here means that we don't have a live Reclaimer the following turn in case they like Force of Vigor or Leyland or something like that, or Nature's Claim, whatever graveyard anti Leyland hate they potentially have. So not too interesting. Like we just Leyland them out of the game here. I don't think our opponent really boarded in anti Leyland cards, from what it seemed. I mean, if you have remove on the Reclaimer, you have two Reclaimers up, right? So that's the other thing. Ming or Chris. Correct, Sadra. Oops, let me. I think I missed that. I think on the draw here, I probably honest. Well, we have endurance too. The problem is we don't do anything till their turn two. They can just like vomit their hand. So if you put this back, you're essentially on leyline or endurance or bust, right? I probably would keep, but I don't. I don't think it's like clear cut. But given that you do, okay, this gets a little bit worse. This is like a mole, right? Here I think you're forced to keep now, right? Oh, what? Again, like, um, I think you keep this because you're on mode of five already. You put one once upon a time back, you put a glimpse back, and then your other once hits a land, and then you have a live reclaimer on turn two and hope that gets you there. Yeah, so I think the problem with endurance is you're down a card, right? Like, I think you keep this hand now, but you're on a mode of four, and I don't. I think it's gonna be very difficult to win here. But yeah, I think the game, this game here was probably lost on the mulligans. I think I would have kept the seven, and I definitely would have kept the five. Like seven is close, right? Because you potentially can ley line them, especially if you have like two or three, like three or four copies in your sideboard. Um, it it might not be, but when you're down to five already, I would not go below that, right? Like, there's an argument to be made that you don't keep the seven, but I don't think you keep that. I don't think you can afford to pass up that five. That was pretty good otherwise. Wait, okay, I think I just missed something. What just happened here? Again, this is what I mean. We don't actually care about the dredgers, right? Like, I don't think you endurance until you have to. Like, who cares if they, yeah, because they're gonna have another looting. It's gonna be really bad for you. Like, this is what I see a lot of players who don't play against dredge much do. Um, they get into this situation where they can panic against a dredge, and we actually don't really care, right, about their dredgers. We care about the stuff that comes back or bridge from below. But I think we're probably gonna lose from here, right? We're already top decking, and they're probably gonna faithless looting flashback, if I were to guess. Yep. Okay, so I got a question. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people mess up against dredge because they don't know where to endurance or surgical or whatever graveyard hit you're hitting, right? Like, we don't care about the dredgers. Like, I've I've been dredged where they dredged the whole deck, and because, like, for instance, back then when I had scavenger use out, you can just kill whatever the relevant cards are, which is typically Icarids, Narcomoebas, and the most important card is really Bridge from Below. Thank you for the follow, Miracle13. So I think here it's more inexperience with a matchup than anything else, Chris. I definitely think you would win games one and three if you were a little bit more familiar with the matchup. It's I think game one you definitely have to get the reclaimer there. I think game three I think it's more inexperience with not knowing what to hit on the dredge, right? We don't actually care about the dredge. We just care about the bridge from belows and creatures, right? And that's a mistake I see a lot of people make for whatever it's worth. The other thing about this game too is I definitely would not have mulled at five, right? I think it's hard for us to win when we mull that much. Yeah, I'm glad to see Inigo's doing well as LGS. I Blood Elves. I wonder if Robert's your mother's brother is an alt Ethan account. here, yeah, we let them dredge first and then see what they hit. Yeah, I think again, just not being familiar really with the matchup. The nice thing is we do kill the bridges for whatever that's worth. Let's see if there's anything else. I can't tell here, but it looks like you're probably ahead. Yeah. Okay, Firestorm. So they dredge a narc. So against dredge, one thing to keep in mind is you want to set a stop on the draw step. That's like super important, right? You let them dredge first. See if you need a surgical or endurance or whatever graveyard hit you're playing, and then if they don't have anything relevant, then you can go to the main phase. So keep that in mind, right? You want to set the stop here on the draw step. I just noticed that right now. Uh, okay. It looks like you conceded from here, which is interesting. I guess because we have no cards. No problem, Chris. Yeah, I think yes, yeah. You're just more unfamiliar with the matchup where ideally here, you hit their not dredgers. You ignore their dredgers and hit everything else that's relevant. All right, on to the next, right? Oh, that's fine. I appreciate you doing that, Chris. That way it saves everybody's time. Ice, ice, ice. This person I believe is on L's, but I could be wrong. Actually, let's stop that for a second. Yeah, you gotta mull this. This is significantly better. Put a land back. Yep. So I'm glad you're enjoying the. I'm glad you're enjoying the deck too, Chris. What's your username on Discord? I don't think it's Gandalf13, right, on Discord. I think it's. I don't want to misspeak, but yeah, if you can just let me know. Okay, that's who I thought it was, but I just wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure it was. Ooh, it looks like they're on. Um, it looks like they're on posts. All right. Here's the. One second. So once upon a time into Reclaimer into Needle tells me their post. What I would do here is actually I just play the Cradle and then Visionary because that ramps us. Thank you for the follow. Because what that does is it sets up a natural order the following turn, and because of this line, we can't now, right? You wanted to play the Cradle there. Might be Tabernacle, maybe. Yeah. So the good thing is it didn't seem like our misplay got punished. So that's good. I think here we gotta play the Cradle now, right? Oh. What? So I don't really. I'm trying to figure out, like, unless you're not familiar with their list, they don't have Wasteland typically. And especially with a Tabernacle, I don't think we can afford not to play the Cradle there. Hmm. Maybe it doesn't matter though. Well, it might not. Yeah, we'll see. We have a natural order the following turn now. Yeah, so that's the thing, Chris. I think you need to in these matches be familiar with what they potentially could have, and that's as easy as potentially in your spare time, just googling lists or whatnot. I think this is. Ooh, you got to be careful here. It doesn't matter, but I think what I do is um, you get more damage if you Green Sun first for an Arbor, then pitch the Arbor. Right? You get 3 extra damage, but it doesn't matter here. Small nitpick, but yeah, it's just something to clean up potentially. All right, you pulled it out there, but I think here is another example of just being just familiar with the opposing archetype. I think that might be an area to improve on. So it looks like you boarded in. What did you board in? The Assassin Trophy, or yeah, which is fine. I think that's good. Yeah, I think that's reasonable how you boarded in. You don't really care for. I don't like the run of foul personally in this matchup. Like I don't think they're gonna go for Merit Lage against you, and I don't really like Caracas either. Uh, ooh, okay, mistake. Given that you don't have a second land, I definitely would Once Upon a Time first, and then see what you get off the. Hopefully, just hit a land. If it's a fetch, you play out the fetch, right, without giving up information. Right here, you have to take the forest, but then now they know one of your cards is the issue. So I think from their perspective, they should end step Reclaimer. I think for us, we just glimpse here. Small mistake, and I noticed this with some players. Do not tap before you actually need to use the mana before playing a spell, because that locks you into floating mana. So we got our nice ancestral recall here, right? Yeah, that's fine, Chris. I think if this is successful or popular, ideally I can get these reviews down, under an hour. That means I can fit in multiple, right? Maybe during one sitting. Also, it just like more Patreon subscription will get more out of it. It's probably the best thing. I think here is obvious what we need to do. We bash with Symbiote. Ideally, just good heuristic. You're gonna want to fetch first to play around removal on Reclaimer, um, and then we're gonna end step Reclaimer for Cradle. This is what I mean, right? Like I've seen newer players get punished because they fetch here and then opponent has a removal spell and you can't suddenly can't reclaim her. You get the Bayou and then you're gonna pitch away the fours because Grace is still in the deck. Also, Assassin Trophy, obviously. Here I would have done it differently. I would have paid with the two lands because if you draw another land, your Cradle taps for extra mana. Ooh, ooh, ooh. No, oh, ooh. Okay. I probably would have Green Sun for Heritage Druid here, right? Because we're short on mana. Like, I mean, I don't think we care about the trophy there, right? Like, we just want to force out, because we can't win the same turn. So what we can do is get more mana. Here we're locked, right? Because we didn't Green Sun for the Heritage Druid. And actually, low key, Tabernacle actually is not that great against us at a post because they don't have Wasteland to back it up, right? So we have a ton of Cradles to pay for it. The good thing though is, yeah, I think we're gonna get a little bit punished now for not having the Heritage Druid in play because otherwise we would be able to do everything we want, namely Natural Order and kill the Tabernacle. I mean the Glacial Chasm. Here I just shortcut, just use Cradle to pay for everything. It's just not worth the clock disadvantage. Yeah, we're yeah. Okay, this is not bad. Oh wait, what? Okay, I think we have to be cognizant of when to Green Sun for Heritage Druid, right? Like this is an obvious time to do so. Yeah, I think here the priority is on the wrong land, right? We don't actually care about the Tabernacle. And I mean, I don't want to harp on it too much, but not getting the heritage is costing us big time here too. Oh yeah, see again, that could be avoided if we had the heritage mana to tap the reclaimer and essentially use reclaimer as Q Ranger for our guy's cradle. Here we get not bailed out because they can still get glacial chasm, but at least we forced them to use it. Yeah, I don't want to be too harsh. Like that's one of the things I'm a little afraid of in this kind of review too. Like I don't really want to hurt people's feelings, so to speak. Um, that's not my intent, but it's a little. So it's kind of tough, right? I'm trying to like thread the needle, so to speak, in terms of like pointing out mistakes and not trying to be too brutal. All right, I think from here we probably lost. It's not that you can't beat a Primeval Time, but I just don't think you can beat on this board state. Yeah, so I second what Inigo said. So for what if it's worth, Inigo was on stream last week too, and I think he had a good mentality, right? He's like, it's okay if I get you know, if I show my mistakes on stream because that's how you learn, right? Because otherwise, if nobody points it out, how are you ever gonna learn from your mistakes? Myself included, obviously. Yeah, for sure, Chris. I appreciate you, not being afraid to just, put yourself out there too. Okay, no, we're not beating this. This is game over now with the excavator. Especially since we boarded out the graveyard hate. I'm gonna fast forward. I think the games were lost a lot earlier. It's possible there's more things coming up, but I don't think it's really beneficial for anybody to go over that. To be honest, turn one tabernacle. That's fine. I don't think we care about it. Give, Given that we have the cradle, right? Yeah, I think here you play the birch lore. Argument to be made, actually, you play the arbor there, but I, yeah, argument to be made, you play the arbor. They're both gonna get taxed for whatever that's worth. Um, yeah, see, in this situation, we would have more mana, right? Like we would have been able if we did it the other way. Let me pause for a second. If we did it the other way and led with Arbor, our two lands plays for the two creatures. We play the Cradle, and what we can do is set up Reclaimer and then Reclaimer away the Bayou for another land. What? Wait, what just happened? What in the world just happened? Looks like they messed up. Is Oh, they okay. They just messed up. Hey Ethan, how's it going? Mr. 61 cards himself. I'm glad somebody's favorite streamer. Ethan, you're too kind. Alright, I think this is an easy keep, in the dark at least. Things change obviously when you know what your opponent's on. I tend not to worry too much about that game one at least. Um, Wait, what just happened? Did we mulligan? I don't. Okay, I think there was I must have missed something because we mulligan what was seemingly a fine hand. Yeah. So I would keep this, by the way, because the green sun is real good here there. But this one now is significantly worse. I probably still keep. Oh, wait. I probably we put back a Once Upon a Time. I probably put back the natural order because we don't have any mana, right? So a few things to clean up there, Chris. But yeah, I keep the seven, and this six is actually worse than that seven in my opinion. But nevertheless, also I would keep the Once Upon a Time because you have to hit lands. You're not gonna be able to cast natural for a while. All right, so Stevens in Legacy today obviously means Blue Red Delver. I think here we just play the Shepherd out and just play the Fetch Go. Yeah, see, we're getting a little bit punished here now um, for not. What's the word I'm looking for? For not keeping the Once Upon a Time. Because you can Once Upon a Time for land here, right? So I don't know what this backstory is, Ethan, on Frilled Mystic, but I know Ethan likes to say that's my favorite card for some reason. Uh, I mean, it's a cool card. I would never play it though, but here I cycled a glimpse there, by the way. We want to hit the third land drop. All right, so Chris, as a general rule of thumb, if you're not hitting your land drops, we need to cycle the glimpse because we can't afford to be stuck on mana. Yes, we didn't feed Ethan today, unfortunately. He's quite the monster. He's the Hydra, right? The lair of the Hydra. Here a little bit. Okay, that is just like very strange from our opponent. I honestly thought you were gonna grist there, right? Because the glimpse is not guaranteed to do anything. We get a little bit saved, but we can't cast the grist now. Um, but yeah, I think Hell Hydra for sure. I think here the big takeaway is, I mean, it just in general, right? This is a good representation of the deck. You have to be able to generate mana, and I think the game was really lost on the mulligan, right? Like we should have kept the first seven, and even the second six, we put back the wrong card, right? Like as a general rule of thumb, we need to be able to play Magic, and here we're not allowed to play Magic because of the extenuating circumstances. Well, you can minus, right? Like unless they have the Ragavan, like we're still parity because um, if they bolt it, what would happen is it's still one for one, right? Or two for two, I should say. There we got it. I think that's it's a stifle probably. Yeah, I probably would have kept the cradle for whatever that's worth because it's higher upside. But a few things to clean up here. I don't think we care about the Ragavan. Not that it matters anymore. We just take it. Yep. Looks like it's a Murktide coming. Yeah, this game, I think mulligans aside, I think the big difference I would have done here was there was the one turn you could have slammed Gris, protected. But that is another story. I think here we have no choice but to slam Gris, right? Like now. And then minus. We're dead here though. I mean, we're too far behind. Mm-hmm. All right. I think. Oh, wait, this is kind of interesting. The in general, I don't like keeping in the natural order package, so it's good that I'm seeing this here. Yeah, I do not like keeping the natural order package. I would keep the heritage. You just want to be low to the ground and just like any longer game, you're gonna win anyways. You don't need natural to finish them. So something to keep in mind. Yeah, I would keep the heritage druids instead of the two natural order and the hoof, which is like pretty bad in my opinion. Because you draw that in your opening hand, it's just so bad. I would keep this actually. Oh, and the logic is, you have a bunch of lands, right? This one I would also keep and put back actually Glimpse of nature. The reason being is we're not going to be able to glimpse for a while, right? Again, same thing. You gotta once first, so that you can actually hit lands off your Once Upon a Time, right? You're reducing the land density of your Once Upon a Time there. Uh, yes, but in general, it's also very important. Like, making mana is the number one, in my opinion, number one most important thing about playing elves, and even more so in this matchup. Uh, Here, I would have done it a little bit differently, but not a big deal. I would have probably fetched first, so to play around submerge. But yeah. So with that opening hand earlier, that I would have kept this first seven. I think your first move is Green Sun for zero, and then hopefully, if they don't do anything, you just slam Grist turn two. If not, you just start playing out land drops, and I think it's pretty good, to be honest. I think here we're just gonna wait, what? Oh, I would not. I would just set up a turn to Reclaimer a Cradle, by the way. Pitching the fetch. Oh my god, we're gonna get punished too. Oh, yeah, that's. Yeah, so what I would do, Chris, is I would pitch the Cradle, force them to use a Wasteland, and then the following turn get Cradle again. Like, you're gonna continue doing it until they run out of Wastelands. Um, I think here, yeah, I would do something differently. I probably would. That's not bad. I probably would get the Arbor, but that's not bad. And then hold up Reclaimer for a Cradle. No, I would not Vizio. Like, we don't play Reclaimer to not get Cradle. Like, that is the one thing I see a lot of Netto players will struggle with. Like, they will want to they'll have this tendency to want to play out all their to play out all of their what is it called, creatures, when the thing you should be doing is getting Cradle. I mean, here it's not too bad because we have a bunch of 3/4 bashing, but we lose here to a Murktide. I would probably pitch Endurance here. That's okay. I don't think we care about that. So the logic there is we pitch Endurance and we're just gonna try to delver them out with our own delvers, right? In general, I don't like for sure, Chris. Like, you're not the only one. I don't beat yourself up too much. As a general of thumb, it is very difficult for Netto players to yeah, just bash here again, right? You got to pressure. I don't think we care about the Ragavans. Here I probably Endurance again, because we can't. The only thing that matters here is Murktide, right? Sure. Looks like you're doing it, yeah. Like, yeah, I see a lot of Netto players struggle because, like, you have to break the habit of just wanting to play everything out, which is typically not better than getting Cradle. Here it looks like it might work to your advantage, but we'll see. Okay, luckily that's useless. I think we just bash here, right? Like, I don't think we care about that. Might be a Delver or something. Okay, they're gonna chump block with the DRC, which is fine. We probably play the Cradle, to be honest. Yeah, so that's the thing, right? Like, the card is absolutely nuts, in my opinion. Here, yeah, okay. So we want to just trophy their dude, right? Oof. All right, that's annoying. They have another bolt. We might be in trouble, actually. I'm gonna take off my headphones for a second. Looks like it's a Murktide coming. All right, so we wait. What? Okay, there we go. Yeah, you go for the kill here. Yeah. All right, I'm glad you were able to, clean up, so to speak, here. I do not think we can. Well, it's like close, but we have two three drops in our hand. I'd probably mull this. Like Gris is probably dead for a while. Here, I probably just lead with the symbiote, to be honest. We're gonna assume that whatever we play first is gonna die. This is the problem I fear against Delver, right? You keep a hand like this with two three drops, and then you don't draw a land, and you're probably gonna lose now. Actually, we're kind of happy they did that. Yeah, so Sadra kind of hinted at it, right? Like, um, the best creature in the deck is by far Reclaimer. Like, it does literally everything now. The only thing it didn't do before was actually kill the opponent, put them to zero. But with Lair the Hydra, now it really does everything. Yeah, I think the game is probably over. We need to hit a land soon. So I think as a general rule of thumb, Chris, if you're still on Ming Empire, if you prioritize developing your mana, I think you'll see your win rate definitely go up. This is definitely more applicable to, especially the Delver matchup. Yeah, so Inigo kind of talked about it, right? Like you have to think about how the game's gonna play out, and if you don't get to play Magic, like we're not gonna be able to win, right? You can't win if you can't play Magic. I think, given this board state, I probably would not have attacked with the Wirewood and blocked because to stop the bleeding, right? Oh my god, this is really bad now. Well, they could give us another land, but yeah. All right, this game is over now. Brutal. Yeah. So yeah, general rule of thumb. I think you kept the lands. Sorry, you kept the hands that I probably would not have, and you mold the hands that I probably would have kept, like the game one hand, for instance. I think this is an easy fix, honestly. Like I think seeing for the first time, Chris, you're gonna know now to prioritize developing mana. Like that. That's an easy fix in my opinion. I would keep this. This is an example of a hand where I would fetch first because I don't want to see lands off my Once Upon a Time, right? And then Once Upon a Time, let's see what we draw here. Probably take the Reclaimer. Yep. I think given no payoff, we leave with a Reclaimer here. Yep. So that's perfect so far. I think our ideal draw here is another Elf, so we can go turn 2, Heritage, Cradle, Elf, ideally Visionary, and then play out the Wirewood. I think Welder here means we need to keep up Reclaimer. What we can do here is play the Heritage, yeah, play the Cradle, and then pass. Oh, yeah, I would not have done that. Also, if you are gonna do something here where they don't turn one Welder, you should probably Green Sun for 1 because you can generate more mana with the Heritage Druid, right? Like these are lines that should be normal to anybody coming for the Netto build, right? This is nothing specific with the Reclaimer. So I think if you want to play removal, you lead with a Wirewood too, right? Because you have the Reclaimer up to bog. Ugh, this is a problem now. This is like the worst. We got punished for tapping out here, so to speak. But yeah, so I would personally just leave with a Wirewood on the previous turn to play around the removal. Leave the Cradle up so you can bog them when they go for the cage, right? And if they don't go for the cage, you get an Arbor out. Okay. There, if you want deck thin, what I would have done was just get a fetch, right? So you can fetch an upkeep. It's not even making the best use of Reclaimer, right? Because you didn't even keep up Reclaimer activation up. And if you were gonna go tap out, I would have tapped out for an Elf so that you can green sun for 3, right? Like we know that a Welder deck, so we want a green sun for Collective. That would be the other line. I think there you want to fetch first to deck thin correctly. But not a big deal. Like I like of all the things to improve on, I think sequencing the deck fitting applications is probably low on the priority in my opinion. Like if you can get the other stuff working first, that's probably ideal. And then you worry about the deck fitting stuff later on. I definitely hear don't tap out, right? We're playing against a welder deck. We're technically not tapped out, but because we can still bounce and untap for bog. So that's okay, I guess. We don't get punished here because we have the collector oof at least. Now we get punished. Alright, now that's game. So here we spoiler, we win game 2 because there's a game 3. I think the way you sideboarded is fine. I think that's how I sideboard. I probably would bring in the last endurance too, for what it's worth. It's like good against their graveyard recursion. It's also like a time walk if they have a combo and you want to buy yourself one turn. And I don't think Progenitor is worth bringing in just for one turn, right? That's the only thing that Liberty does in this matchup. Pretty good hand, honestly. Yeah, so two Force of Vigor is very good in this matchup. I keep that here. I probably like once first without fetching. So yeah, as a general rule of thumb, if you want to see lands, you don't want to fetch before the warrior once upon a time, right? Like there's one less land in the deck, so because you'd have to keep land here, which is fine. Ooh, I would not have done that. Like you need to be able, like I cannot stress, you need to be able to hit land drops with this deck. So Dustin, the low key secret is this person. I don't want to say their name, but they have a reputation for being very salty. So that is not unusual. So yeah, well, again, we're punished here for not getting the land, right? But yeah, they have a reputation for being very salty. Yeah, no surprise. Like it's happened to me, I believe, and I think it's happened to a lot of players. This opponent. So nothing new, I guess, with this opponent. The nice thing is, in these kind of situations, Lair the Hydra becomes pretty good, right? Like, obviously we're gonna get a Cradle first, but then later on. But yeah, we're extremely punished here for not getting the land, right? Ideally, with this deck, you need to be able to hit your land draws turns 1, 2, and 3. After that, not a big deal, right? But, wait, what? Okay, so they're playing this brew where they have the liquid metal coating, so that they can gorilla shaman or power or whatever ancient grudge you. Yeah, so that's the thing, right? Like, what do they do right now? Yeah, I don't think I would have pitched the Arbor, right? We want the creature, but not a big deal, I guess. They strangely have Wasteland though, but that's another story. I don't probably have the block bounce here, yeah. Like we need to buy time, given our hands a little awkward. It looks like you pulled it out though, which is like relevant. Okay, so again, small nitpick. I think if you're gonna deck thin, you want to get the fetch right. Oh my god, that is nasty. The good thing it was still 2 for 2, but yeah, that's pretty backbreaking. I'd be curious how you got out of this jam here. Here we go to 3, presumably. Wait, okay, that's okay, I guess. That's not the worst. They can regen for what they missed it. Yeah, I guess they want to protect a grindstone. That's the only thing I can think of. But I probably, if I were them, I'd probably use the jar there and regen. Yeah, I'm trying to think how we win from here. I guess Force of Vigor makes sense, right? Because they hit us with the Pyrokinesis too, which is typically hard to play around. No shame in losing to that card. I think the moral of this story is again same thing, right? Like we got to hit land drops early turns, and I think that's an easy fix. It's like one of those things where if somebody tells you one time, you're not gonna forget it because you're gonna remember all the games you lose as a result. I think he. Oh, I think there I definitely leave with the birch lore, right? Because you're losing mana by doing it the other way around. Yeah, so Inigo, fished it out, so to speak, right? Like we draw the force of vigor here. I think we done it the other way. We would have had been able to get more draws out, right, with our Wirewood symbiote and Visionary. So they can save one. That's fine. I suspect the way we win here is we just grind them out with the Visionary. No. At least until we draw like an Assassin's Trophy or something, and then we natural order them. Here, pretty straightforward. I think you tap for mana, untap. Yeah. And then we probably just play the bog because, yeah. Probably just play out play that out too. Like, what are we holding it for in this case? We don't have glimpse in the deck, but we can deck thin here. Right. Yeah. You want to get a fetch. Um, for those of you who are recently playing Lair of the Hydra or thinking about playing it, this is not the type of matchup for it because it's typically good on board states where they don't have a bunch of creatures. So what I mean by that is like it's not good against these DNT decks or typically not at least. It's not at its best. It's better against the decks with like one or two threats or a combo deck because they could just pitch like one of their creatures to just block it, right? It doesn't have trample or evasion. I think again, you probably want to fetch first because you get more mana, right? Wait, did we bounce? Yeah, we did. Okay. All right, engineer. It's not gonna matter with our ley line. I suspect we're gonna draw a removal spell, hit the cage, and then natural order them like pretty soon. Like we do know the result of this game, which helps, right? I'm trying to think how to win through this board state. It's probably likely scenario we draw the removal. Archon, it's not bad till we draw it right now. Or natural hoof. The good thing is we have two endurance as ways to buy time, right? They're trying to mill us out, which is kind of cute, I guess. Or hopefully mill like our removal or something. That's the only thing they can think of. That would get us closer to the removal spell, right? Also, we have endurance to put things back if need be, right? Um, again, okay, there we go. There's the Assassin's Trophy. All right, not too bad. I think the only thing there that was like a big takeaway was again just want to hit land drops early turn, right? We drew out of it, but shouldn't have been in that position in the first place. Yeah, so I think the only thing is I probably keep in the endurance, but I don't know how it mapped for you. That's the only caveat. Oh, wait a minute. I'm gonna pause. I would keep that 7, by the way. In general, I don't mull much, and that seemed playable, right? Because you have a collector oof coming down. Unless you're worried it's too slow. Yeah, I mean, I don't do it often. Like honestly, the times I endurance myself is like rare, right? It's like less than 5 times total. I don't know what it is at the moment, but it's not that much. But something to keep in mind when it comes up. Like, I'll be honest, the times I've actually endurance myself is not that often, but it does come up, and it's something to keep in mind. I think we have to fetch. Um, well, I was gonna say we should probably fetch Bayou, right? If they have Blood Moon, we have the Force of Vigor. If they have Magus, we just live with it, right? I don't think they have Magus. Yeah, so Dustin, like I said, it comes up, but not that often, in my opinion. But sometimes, yeah, it's just important to keep the line available. Very, very rarely will I do it. And the big reason why I typically will not do it on myself is because it shrinks Reclaimer. But sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, right? Um, yeah. So again, I would not have mold. This deck doesn't really want to mull, in my opinion. Like we're a critical mass deck at the end of the day, and I know one of the misconceptions about this deck is like it's not a good glimpse of nature deck. I think it still is. You just have to play it a little bit differently, and you still need a critical mass of cards, right? Because hitting land drops is important because eventually Reclaimer will turn one of them into a Cradle or Arbor. Um, Ugh, that's brutal. Oh, actually, no. You have the Force of Vigor, which is huge. Oh, all right. So this is a trick that you need to be aware of. Like, if you force a Vigor here, killing their Needle and Servant, you get it. You gotta keep your Reclaimer too, right? So it's a 3 for 2. Oh man, this is yikes. I think the line there is you pitch Natural Order too, right? You can't cast Natural for like multiple turns. Yeah, I would force pitch Natural Order, hit the Needle and the Servant, and then your Reclaimer lives. Oh, that's a good point there, Crab Stapler. For sure. That is a good point. So now I apologize. That was my fault. Although I would pitch Natural Order, right? Because we can't cast it for a while. But yes, Force you cannot cast on your own turn. One of the drawbacks of that card. What do we pitch? I don't even know. We pitched Assassin's Sword. Not a big deal, I guess. I think here Grindstone, Crepe Stapler, I should say. So the combo is Grindstone, which they can fetch with the Urza Saga. Yeah, you can. You just have to pay, which I have done a good amount of time. Like Force of Vigor is a very powerful sideboard card that I have. Ooh, what I would have done there, we got a little bit lucky to be honest. I would have actually played the Once Upon a Time digging for land, right? Instead of hoping to get it with the Visionary, because we need to hit land drops. We are also a little bit behind on time, but probably not. 4 minutes is probably okay. So the good thing is we have the Assassin Trophy for the Painter. The Collector is real good here, right? I mean, that's a snap keep, I think. Yeah. I think here we play the Oof. Sure. They really want to mill us for some reason. Or they should mill themselves. Um, we're gonna respond to the welder here. Yeah, and endurance. There you go. That's heads up. Yeah, that is a great play. I think we're in a great shape actually now. The way it's played out. Yeah, I haven't played Force 2 in Legacy for since Eternal Weekend essentially. No worries, Chris. I appreciate you definitely volunteering yourself up here. I think that's how you get better, to be honest. Like learning from the mistakes. And I think for the most part, this game has been pretty tight. The only thing I would have done differently is like maybe pitch the natural order because we want to prioritize generating mana. Like we were short on mana, and then luckily the visionary hit a land there. I would have played the Once Upon a Time. Okay, so we have the game here. Yeah. So nothing too interesting here. We natural order kill them. I'm assuming they got. I'm assuming they got salty because they thought we were like slow rolling them or something. I don't know. But yeah, this is a game. Hey Romano, how's it going? Romano's one of my peers when it comes to consulting on this deck now. Like for those who don't know, he went undefeated in his LGS yesterday at in Legacy with Elves. So he's the master now. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I know what you mean, Chris. I just typically ignore them. Enrich at so this person is usually on Doomsday. This hand is a little bit shaky, but I probably keep. It has two lands, but like one and a half really. The Arbor is not a great land draw, but I probably still keep. If the Arbor wasn't there, I probably don't. If I'm being honest. So far, like pretty good review session. I think. Like, I think Twitch chat is, and especially Chris is getting a lot out of this, right? Yeah. You. Ooh. So I'm gonna pause right there. Again, general rule of thumb: unless unless you can do something pretty crazy here, like glimpse turn two, uh, or you're gonna develop your mana anyways because you have an arbor, sorry, a cradle. I would definitely just reclaim it for cradle here. Like this, so better lucky than good, right? We got the cradle anyways, but I definitely would just reclaim it for cradle. What's the cost of getting a review? Good question, Craps Stapler. So for those who don't know, Chris, which is Ming Empire on Twitch chat right now, is a Bayou subscriber, which is $10 a month. There is a chance that you can get picked even if you are a Basic Force subscriber, which is $5 a month. But priority will be to the Bayou tier, and also the highest tier is the Guy's Cradle tier, which is $15. But I'm gonna let everybody in on a secret right now, which is Chris is the first one to message me regarding the replay review system that we have, or the review system. So literally, if you subscribe right now with Bayou tier and submit your videos online, you will literally be first in line. So this is like a good time to, if you want me to review your what is it called, review your matches, and I only will take for now a Moto format because it's easier for me to view and easier for the audience to view. But you will literally be first in line, so that would be extra incentive for anybody who wants me to review their matches going forward. No problem, Chris. Thank you for the nice compliments. So they, what did they ending our reclaimer, which is fine. Yeah, I would fire off the glimpse there. That's fine. They forced it. I think we played the shepherd. Ooh, oh, yeah. I think I would play the shepherd into the wirewood there, right? But that's okay too. Yeah, this is probably the Jess guy control deck, or Are there any formats than Moto? I mean, there's paper play, right? Like, but the problem with paper play is going to be harder for me to identify like the board states. So at least for now, let's just keep it a Moto. If you like, I guess if it's clean enough, you can try submitting like paper matches, and I'll think about reviewing it. But it's probably harder for me to do so. I yeah it. I think this is like the format that most people would probably enjoy seeing. To be honest, yeah, we got kind of punished, right? Like we couldn't protect our shepherd there. I think I would have just played shepherd into wirewood, and then that's it, right? Shepherd into cradle into wirewood, and then glimpse the following turn. We might win this anyways, which is nice. But I'm glad you're getting a lot out of this Ming Empire slash Chris. So I think because you are getting a lot out of it, I suspect chat will get a lot out of it too. That's not really that great against us, to be honest. People will try, but I've beaten that card a lot of times. Yeah, we glimpse here anyways, right? Glimpse through it. And then here we bounce the birch lore because we need the mana. Uh, yeah, that's fine too, I guess. I would personally bounce the birch lore, but I think that's okay. As a general rule of thumb, I will not bounce visionaries if we need the mana. Looks like a natural order is coming with Gris. Nice, even better. They conceded before you had to find anything. I personally there would have played it safe because we knew the natural order was only getting the Gris. Actually, that's okay. I think that's fine because like you can get Gris, and then if they play Hull Breacher, well, what I would do is just play the Visionary, right? And then if they get the Hull Breacher, you can natural order for Gris later. But I'm glad the bluff worked. It's one of my favorite things to do actually when Kroof is in my hand. Uh, I would actually. Okay, I don't know how many endurances you have or assassin trophy, but I would not have brought them in. I don't think it's worth it. I think Thoughtseize is better here, right? Unless you know they're not on the Hull Breacher version. Alright, they ponder turn one. The other thing is we know they have back to basics. That's another reason why I don't. Well, actually, it's okay. You only boarded in trophies, I guess. But candidates is kind of annoying. Oh, I think here. Yeah, we're gonna set up a net. Yeah, I like this play a lot from Gandalf. So the line here is we're gonna force natural order through with Shepherd protection, right? I think we have no choice but to slam natural order here. Oh, actually, it's even better, right? We have the Shepherd now. If we didn't draw the Shepherd there, I would slam natural order. Yeah, it helps us actually in this kind of game. Obviously, we have the glimpse hand; it hurts us. But here, our opponent has to find the removal, right? Because you have the removal on their turn and then force on our turn. We don't do anything because we want to get natural order like down. Okay, sure. Okay, so this is pretty easy now, right? Like we just end step hit that. Okay, this is an easy win, yeah. And then they can't even do anything, right? Because yeah, they can't even do anything because the Canonist is in play. So pretty nice. Like they might dress down here, but sure. They're trying to keep us off mana. They know what's coming up. All right, we just slam natural order. Yeah, that should be game. Like Hull Breacher or not, that should be game. So this game, I think, like for the most part, played very well, Chris. Like I don't really have any issues with the way you played out this game. I don't know if you knew that they were on the Hate Bear version or not, or it seems like they were not on the Hull Breacher version. So I think given that, I think I was okay with the way you boarded. Again, like no issues really with this game. And then here we just bash. I think what I would do there is, given the Canonist is in play, I probably don't even play the Visionary because they have to be on Supreme Verdict or Bust, right? Or Terminus or Bust. So I would actually end step Endurance. So yeah. All right. So I think that concludes our review. Um, you have any beginner content? I'm thinking about playing Legacy for the first time for the Mana Trader series, but most of the thank you for the follow, Pablo Canzana. Most of the stuff I see in the research looks like it's for old versions. Good question, Crepe Stapler. I do not really have any beginner content. I think the best way to learn, honestly, is to watch the videos. Like objectively speaking, obviously, like the Patreon will help too. But if you're just learning the deck, I think the first thing you need to do is probably just watch the videos before even Patreon. Um, Also, what I would highly recommend doing is, so I'm done with this, I guess. What I would highly recommend doing is, well, yeah, if you can do that, that'd be great. Romario's, the best elf player in the world right now. So I would honestly just watch the videos first and then start jamming games. And I almost forgot what I was gonna say. I would draw out a sideboard map and do it yourself before looking at my sideboard map. The reason being is because it forces you to think about the matchups and how you want to game plan against each deck from a macro standpoint. There are some old articles too that do a good job. I know, notably like Dan Nguyen's old article with when Death Right was legal is a decent primer. And I do not remember what you said, but what are your thoughts on run of foul versus force of vigor in the two slots in the sideboard? So, Chris, I'm glad you asked that. That's one of the benefits of me doing this review. I think force of vigor is like very meta dependent. What I would do is like, it depends what you want to gear yourselves towards, right? Like if you're having trouble with Delver, I think run of foul is one of the stronger cards in that matchup. One thing I want to point out is like just because I'm not struggling with the Delver matchup per se, it doesn't mean other people are not. And actually, the consensus right now is Elves is actually disadvantaged in the Delver matchup because I saw like something like 42% win rate since Modern Horizons, right? Which is kind of nuts to me. But if you are struggling with the Delver matchup, I would play Run of Foul. I think Force of Vigor is good if you are struggling with like Painter, um, lands. It tends to be good pretty in that matchup. Or if you just run against a lot of DNT, for instance, those are the type of matchups I would play. So it really depends what you're struggling with. It's not one size fits all too because, like I said, just because I do well or other people do well against Delver doesn't mean you won't. So Run of Foul tends to be one of the better cards against Delver. And like I said, I think the elf community as a whole is struggling with that matchup. Maybe not me or like some of the more experienced Delver pilots, but I think or some of the experienced elf pilots, but I think as a whole the elf community is struggling with that matchup at the moment. But Runafowl is better against Delver and Depths. I'm not sure that is like entirely accurate, Chris. I think Runafowl is probably more applicable because Delver is such a big part of the population. But Force of Vigor is good against a lot of different decks that otherwise would be potentially hard matchups, like lands, for instance. Runafowl less good there. That said, I think Inigo. One second. Let me take a look. Catch from there. I have the bots on YouTube. Okay, so Inigo, I just saw message me earlier. If you can send me the link to the DNT matchup, that we can do one more review while we have you have online potentially. One second. I'm just catching up on like messages right now. Okay, so Inigo just sent me the YouTube link. All right, perfect. Well, we can do one more match. I know he has been struggling with the DNT matchup. Here's the link, by the way, for those curious. I will bring it here for a second. Oops. Okay, so for those of you, struggling with the DNT matchup, I think this is like out of the popular meta game decks, one of our better matchups. Not the best matchup. That'd probably be 8 cast. I think you can like kind of cast spells at random within that matchup. DNT against good DNT pilots, you can still lose, especially game 1, which I think is hard. So let's take a look here. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. So here we want to fetch. Looks like you play the red splash. Is this in the legacy challenge at 4 and 1? Okay, so this is we fetch basic. Oh, I would definitely green sun for 0 here. Luckily, they seem to be hellbent on just swordsing whatever we played. I would have led with green sun. In some ways, we're almost rewarded, right, for not doing that. I think the line here is green sun symbiote, right? Because our draws don't do anything. Yeah, I think I lost to Enchantress like once, and that was because I misclicked, and our opponent like took advantage of the fact that I misclicked, I like I yielded, and then they took advantage of the fact that I yielded. So for whatever that's worth, right? I would definitely would have ramped there, right? So Enchantress, I think I'm like X1 lifetime. The X is like at least 20, I think. That is probably our best matchup. DNC, I think, like right now amongst the popular decks, like not as good as 8 cast, not as good as I think here we just. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. Yeah, if for those of you who like my content, here's more stuff, and you can also subscribe to, Twitch as well, or Patreon. Here's my Discord, my Twitter, and what am I missing? YouTube. And then you can gift me a sub if you have Amazon Prime or whatnot. That would be much appreciated, obviously. I have not hit the bare minimum yet for to collect my first Twitch reward, so to speak. I'm also watching this on mute, right? Because I don't want to be persuaded one way or another based on Inigo's commentary. Not to mention, I can't really watch it with audio too because there will be this echo that will happen. And you know, as an elf player, we don't like when echoes happen, right? Like, especially of the eons. All right. A little bit of awkward like draw here. They probably know we're on elves too. To be honest, Yoshiwada is a known Death and Taxes player. So they probably know we're on elves. Like Spirit's pretty good in this matchup. It appears you won game one too, from what I remember. Spoiler alert. So I suspect we natural order at some point. Um, but yeah, I think I would have fired off the Green Sun a long time ago because we just want to develop our mana, right? I would not have attacked there, right? I mean, I guess it's free. It's not really free though because if they have a second spirit, they may block. So a little bit dangerous to be honest, Inigo. I probably would not do that. Um, I hate this card, but not this card, but I hate the fallen card I'm about to mention. But if you are struggling with the DNT matchup, it's possible you want to consider playing Rex Sage or Mass Vandal. I personally like Mass Vandal a lot more. No, because what if they block it, right? Like Inigo? Like they could, in theory, solitude your Wirewood and then like block it. Or just straight up trade, right? Like because you don't you lose mana otherwise. Like from their perspective, they just want to get to Yorion, like or Jite, right? One or the other. The good thing is for at least Yorion, that takes forever to get them to get to without dying, right? Yeah, I don't know. I would have fired this off turn one, turn two, like much earlier. Like either getting Arbor like the first three turns or getting Reclaimer, right? Like we want to unlock our mana. I mean, here you get the Grist, like which is nice, but like it took definitely a while. I can check. Let's see. 1080 is available, so let's watch in 1080. There you go. That's a lot better. I apologize for not doing that earlier. That's true. I heard Inigo is big on grist, right? So it looks like to me the game plan here is working out. But again, I would have probably just saved it for a while ago because like we just want to develop our mana. Um, Here we're probably gonna tick down, kill the spirit, and then start drawing cards. A tip I give new players is if you're unsure what to do, it's almost always right to just take the line that makes more mana. So whether that be Green Sun Zenith for 0 or Reclaimer for Cradle, like those are almost always can be correct. If you're unsure, I probably this is a little bit dangerous. I probably would not have bounced with short mana, right? Although unless your line is just a visionary into visionary and not play the glimpse. Yeah, I mean, they could have top decked it, right, Inigo? I tend to play very conservatively, but that's me. But you may be rewarded here, right? If you tick down Gris, kill the spirit, and then they don't have a second Gris, hopefully. I mean, second spirit. We get severely punished, though, if they violate a second spirit. I think the safe play here is just not even play the glimpse, just visionary twice. Because the violon too is kind of scary, right? Yeah. So they did have the removal spell. They're gonna take the symbiote. What we're gonna do is we're gonna once upon a time and see what we hit. I guess. I think I'm gonna watch this because this is from YouTube. I'm gonna watch this in a little bit faster setting instead of the yeah. Let's do 1.5. Yeah, I think that's fine. You know the coast is clear, right? Because they didn't vow in spirit. Probably get the ranger right here. That's like pretty good too because it protects the grist, right? You don't really want to trade your ranger with a commando. No, actually, ranger doesn't work there because if you draw a creature, you can't cast it anyways, right? You're missing a second creature. So I actually agree with taking the reclaimer. Here they're forcing the commando through, I believe, so they can take down the grist. That's fine. They're hellbent anyways, and then you Nash Warrior next turn. So I think we've already won. Yeah. Um, Not too interesting unless you drew the cuff. Maybe you did. I don't know. Like they're dead here, right? Wait, what? How did they kill two things? Did they solve you twice? Yeah, it looks like they did. Oh wow. Okay, they had a flicker wisp for it. Wow. Okay. I think here that's fine. We can wait a turn. Then so what we can do is since we don't have lethal here, get the cradle, and then do it the following turn. That's kind of cool. I miss these old Mangara like tricks, right? It's the same thing as Mangara trick from D&T is days of yore, right? You get the cradle here and kill them now. even better, right? I think here you probably green sun for two. They don't. They should respond with a vial, and then yeah, you just pitch. Cool. That's pretty straightforward win. I think I would played it a little bit differently early game, but late game was played pretty clean. I think. Shutting off the vial is big game, big brain here. Let's go to sideboarding. Force of Vigor, sure. Wait, let me go back. The border out. Oh, we don't have any Assassin's Trophy, I just realized. Okay. I think that is one issue, right? With playing this red splash. Like, you don't really have that many cards to bring in, which is unfortunate. You, having to keep three shepherds kind of bad. I would 100% mull this hand. There's a good chance we don't play Magic. Yeah. And then put back the Bayou. And then we're gonna lead off with Fetch and then Once Upon a Time. Again, Inigo, you do not want to tap mana first before playing the Once Upon a Time because like you there's times where that will get you punished, right? Like if you tap it that way because if you suddenly can't do anything with that mana, like you just it's just a bad habit to get into. All right, Stoneforge, that's fine. We have like the ultimate answer for Stoneforge. Yeah, you have to break it. It's gonna cost you games in the future. I've actually seen it cost you like games. I think last week doing that right because you were suddenly short mana because you realize, oh, I can't use the floating mana. I think here, yeah, we probably can just play our Visionary, see what we draw, right? We have a Cradle in hand already, which is fine. All right, more Cradles. All right, they're gonna get their Stoneforge, um, get a Cauldra, and then we're gonna have to be forced to kill the GTA later on. So what I imagine they're gonna do is they're gonna equip the Flicker with the following turn, and then we're gonna have to pitch the Force of Vigor. Excuse me. Pitch the Force of Vigor to, or actually we can hardcast it off the Cradle to hit the GTA, right? So I probably would do that, and it's also protected against with Reclaimer. So as of right now, the line is gonna be, ooh, this is even better, right? We can go Visionary first, and then Cradle into Visionary. I would. have, oh, I see again. You're floating 3 mana for no reason, and again, you can't do anything with it now, right? Also, you get severely punished here, right? We can't even pitch the Force of Vigor. Yeah, okay. So where we lost the game, Inigo. Like we can't afford to tap out here when we know they have a GT, and especially like it was like there's really no need to float 3 mana there and essentially not do anything, right? Like we lose 2 creatures here unnecessarily. So what you could have done to Inigo was you could have also held the heritage in hand. Okay, let's back up for a second. Oops. All right, I'm gonna pause here. So here we have 4 mana floating. We know, okay, we know we can hard cast Force of Vigor with Heritage mana. So what I would do here is play the Heritage first, play the Cradle, and then play the Visionary, right? Because that gives 3 mana up. Also, okay, the other thing is like the other thing is like there is no reason to play the heritage there first, right? Like we already have the cradle mana, and in the worst case scenario, if the visionary doesn't draw anything relevant, which it doesn't here, we can force at instant speed with the by pitching the heritage druid. So either line, like you would have been immune to GTA a hit, right? Like, but then the thing is like we tapped out here for no reason. Like hopefully that makes sense. And sorry if I am being a little too critical. Um, I know Inigo is a very good player, and it's just like I do want to make sure that he, can maximize his win rate overall, right? Because I know Inigo has helped me a lot with regards to my stream. So again, like this could have been avoided, right? We lost 2 creatures here for no reason. The other thing is, if we sequence it differently, we play the heritage out first. We have the one forest floating, or not untapped. What that does is we can tap 3 elves and then hardcast the force of vigor. That's even better, right? Because we don't even lose the heritage druid. We just, straight up one for one them. Here, it's interesting to see the line you criticize on turn one happen again. Ended up way worse. What do you mean by that, Dustin? Unless I'm missing something here. Unless you're talking about the other game. I think turn one here was fine, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, there's really no reason to do that, in my opinion. Oh, wait, what is going on here? So I thought here, Inigo, you would just play the shepherd and play the cradle, and then you're gonna hardcast the force. Unless you didn't see that the hardcast line. That's the only thing I can think of, right? Oh yeah, okay. So I think here, just a tunnel vision into the force. Not seeing that we can hardcast it with a cradle, right? Yeah. So I that happens. I'm not gonna get on that too much. Sometimes you just miss it, right? Yeah, I don't think that's game ending, but we definitely lost like one of the ways we can win easily, right? Because we could have just pumped our guys to five, and if we draw a wirewood, right? If we draw a wirewood, then suddenly our board is like very good now, right? Like here we're getting punished now, right? Because we can't turn our guys to five fives. Okay, we drew the shepherd anyway, so it didn't matter. Here probably just play the tiger, play the shepherd out, right? We could have just bashed. Well, actually no, they have. If I remember correctly, I think they flicker with the Stoneforge, so they got a Cauldron, so it can't even bash. Um, yeah, I would not do this. They actually screwed up too. They could have used Mother Runes to block and protect the other one. So I'm not quite sure what's going on here. Maybe they drew the Wasteland here. Sure. Yeah, I so Inigo, I think what happened was this game was probably winnable, but also they made a huge mistake. To be fair, also if we don't pitch the Shepherd, we probably get away with the first mistake, right? Yeah, I'd probably just stay on defense to be honest. And then if they want to attack, we're gonna bash back, right? Instead of losing a creature. Like I'm not really afraid of Cauldron, right? We like lost our Reclaimer, and we can race a Cauldron in my opinion. I don't think we can now with the Barret Skull, but we just have to pass now, in my opinion. But wait, Jitte's off the board though. Inigo. Thank you for the follow, High Star 1737. Yeah, so the thing is I think attacking there is not the end of the world, but then like again, the previous mistake meant that we were short another attacker, right? We played the Shepherd out. We could have upkeep done it, and then not only that, have a second wasteland, sorry, second cradle to play around the wasteland in hand. Yeah, that's heads up by them. Well, sort of. Wait, I don't understand. Why did we concede here? Wait, I'm gonna go back. Like, well, I don't understand why we conceded here, Inigo. Like, they attack us, we take it. Well, I guess unless you're giving them credit for forcing the Batterskull through, some players are scared of doing that for whatever it's worth. Um, we're probably dead anyways, but I would let them have the one turn, right, and see if they go for it or not. But we're probably dead anyways. Our opponent probably forces the Battle Skull through, and then flies through with the sorry, forces the Germ token through, and then flies over with the well, actually, they can do it a couple ways, right? They can force the Battle Skull through, attack with the Cauldron token, fly with the 3. Yeah, there's a few ways they can do it, Priest of Gigs. But this game was lost really with the GTA, right? Like, um, I'm trying to remember what happened. We lost 2 creatures for no reason on the first GTA swing, and then we pitched a third creature, so we lost 3 creatures. Yeah, like the first one, we probably it's just backbreaking, right? We have the only way we lose, in my opinion, is with GTA, and that's typically what we allowed to happen this game, right? Here we probably once first, and then just play the Heritage Druid, and then we have a turn 2 Grist or turn 2 Natural Order, which is nice. Here, okay, that changes the line. We take this Reclaimer and lead with the Reclaimer. Yeah, this is an easy keep in my opinion. Sure. I think turn 2 Grist, right? Yeah, I think we're pretty ahead here. Wow. Yeah. So that's got to be Containment Priest potentially, or I probably would not have played that to be honest, because okay, because we already have a board. We're gonna plus again, yeah, and then we're gonna attack with the 2 insect tokens. Oh, there's no reason to attack with the Reclaimer there. For multiple reasons, right? We want to protect our cradle, and 2, we want to get the lair of the Hydra right out to really start pressuring. Wait. Dryad. Unless I'm missing something. No, I'm looking at the log, Inigo. It looks like you just attack with the Reclaimer. I think we attack with everything here. I think Inigo is on lair. Well, actually, we can just check, right? Oh, no lair in this set. Okay, that's fair. I still would not attack because I want Reclaimer to be a 3/4 and deck thin, right? The 1 damage is irrelevant. So I definitely think like this is a scenario where like lair is kind of good. Even without lair, I don't attack with Reclaimer there because I want to. What I want to do is I want to fetch the Reclaimer for a fetch. We actually drew the fetch here, but we don't really want to, right? We Reclaimer for the fetch on upkeep. Go lower on fetches. That's fair, Inigo. Ooh, the cage now really hurting us. Again, I do not think the damage matters that much, but I would play it a little bit differently. They have 4 cards in hand. I don't think we're gonna get there with damage. 4 mana up. I think illegal. If you do that, I probably run everything in, right? Yeah. See, we get blown out by removal. Yeah, I think it's over now. We have a cage that's stranded 3 cards in our hand, and they're gonna get a solitude presumably. That's pretty good too, right? I would get solitude in there. That's a good top deck. Uh, Gotta take that shepherd here, I think. Uh, you gotta play to the board, yeah. Yeah, that's fair. The one thing I will say though is like maybe we draw a little bit better if we held back the reclaimer too, because we get a deck thin, right? And here we just lose to Jite. Yeah, I don't think we're winning now. Like I told this to, okay, I think that was a premature concession for what it's worth, Inigo. Um, but nevertheless, uh, I think you can draw out of it with Oof or Assassin's Trophy. So a little bit premature, I think, but really, uh, that one is a little bit harder because they have the quick cage into a GT. But I think the one thing that I would have done differently is definitely hold up the reclaimer because it's unlikely you're gonna get there with damage. I told this to Jorg too. Like, um, in general, the aggro plan's not gonna get there against D&T. So yeah, you can still hard cast with Force of Vigor. There's that, right? And you can pitch one of your dead tutors. But as a general rule of thumb, really, that game was not as in your control, so to speak. Like the cage is tough. I think the game two is the one that we could have definitely won easily. So hopefully that helps, Inigo. I know it's hard to play while you're streaming, and for those who don't know, check out Inigo's stream. Let me bring that up for a second. Here's Inigo's stream, so give him a follow if you haven't already. Um, and hopefully this teaching session, so to speak, has been helpful. I think we could have played a little bit better there game three. Really, game two we should have won though, on multiple levels. Like the only way you lose this matchup is to a GT, and we allowed GT to take 3 creatures when it should have been 0. Um, the other thing I want to mention is in game three, the we are out there as probably a collective oof or force of vigor, so a little bit premature, but we're probably dead. Like to be fair, like I'm trying to. In most cases, you're probably losing that game three. So for whatever that's worth, like the cage is a tough one because it's a one of, and then we don't have as much removal right without Assassin's Trophy. Yeah, so Inigo, I think the biggest takeaway is 2 things, right? Like I think one, you have to think about what you lose to, and in this case it's GT, and I think you need to, for your sake, break the habit of floating mana, because we really got punished by that. Like as we saw, this game, the game against D&T game two, right? like you have to break the habit. Like I can't stress that enough because it's gonna cost you more games. Because you're gonna have this scenario where you're gonna not optimally use mana, and in a deck that wants to tap out every turn, that is just not something we can afford to do. With that said, though, I think for those who don't know, Inigo still went 4-3 overall, so it's still like respectable. And I think he finished 19th or so. I don't remember. I'm just like trying to go off the top of my head or whatnot. But I think good lessons to learn overall, not only from Inigo's match right now, but from Chris's match earlier, which is Ming Empire, right? So, without further ado, if there are no other questions, I guess I can just go raid somebody else. It's about time for me to take out the dog now, so I will go ahead and raid, fellow streamer Anurag. Thank you for everyone for tuning in, and hopefully, I know I don't mean this in any way, but hopefully I wasn't too harsh, on our, two pilots today, Chris and Inigo. I think, obviously they support me, so I try to support them as well. I will try to stream Inigo either on Tuesday or so. But yeah, I definitely, when I saw Inigo lost to D&T, I definitely suspected that we punted somehow, because I do think D&T is a very favorable matchup, and not hard to lose, but like hard to stomach losing is probably what I should say. But yeah, hopefully I'm not too harsh on you, Inigo. Thank you again for everything you've done for me. Hopefully this helps you going forward with your D&T. I know you said you're trying to exercise your D&T demons, and hopefully this review goes towards it a long way. All right, without further ado, I'll go ahead and raid Anurag.